All right, we're doing section 6.6, solving quadratic equations. First thing is just understanding the form that it has to be in. So this is a standard form of the quadratic equation. So it's going to be in the order of x squared, and then you'll have the x, and then you will have one that does not have a variable at all. So they kind of write it out here. You can see it a little bit. We've got this a x squared, and a stands for the number that's going to be in front of the variable x, plus bx squared. Again, b is going to be the variable in front of the number in front of the variable x, and then c will just be the number on the end. It does need to be set up to equal 0. So whenever you have it, make sure that it goes in that same order where you have the x squared, then you just have the x, and then you have one that does not have a variable at all. And the last part will be that your a does have to be positive. If it's negative, then you're going to multiply everything by -1 just to turn it into a positive number. All right, so I'll start off with number 1. We've got writing the equation in standard form. So again, it needs to follow the order that we had up here, where it's going to be that x squared plus bx plus c is going to equal 0. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rearrange them into the correct order. So I'm going to swap these two out. I'm not going to worry about moving this 5 over yet. We'll do that extra step. But I want 3x squared to be my first number plus 2x. Now I've got equal to 5. Remember, I do need to make sure that it equals 0 at the end. So I need to move this 5 from the right side of the equal sign over to the left. So I'm going to subtract 5 there. I'm going to subtract 5 there. And I end up with 3x squared plus 2x minus 5 equals 0. So once we put that together, now I can figure out what some of those letters actually stood for. The a in that equation is going to stand for 3. The b in that equation is going to stand for 2. And the c is going to stand for -5. All right, so it's currently in standard form. When I do it just like this, I wrote these extra letters on the right-hand side just to show you what each one of them is going to stand for, which will help when we get down to the quadratic equation at the end. All right, so for number 2, again, I've got these numbers. They're in the wrong order. I'm just going to reorganize them. I'm going to swap these two from left to right. So I've got 9x squared plus 7 equals 3x. I have to get it equal to 0 on one side, so I'm going to subtract the 3x from both sides. Minus 3x. I get 9x squared minus 3x plus 7 equals 0. I'm just going to rewrite it on the sides. That way it's kind of cramped in there. But for that one, you'd have 9x squared minus 3x plus 7 equals 0. My a is going to be a positive 9. B is going to be a -3. And then C, the value for that will be a positive 7. Hopefully that one makes sense. Just you're reorganizing things, putting them in standard form. All right, the next part, this should just be a nice little review from before. FOIL. When we're doing FOIL, remember it's going to be first, outside, inside, last. So when we do FOIL, we have two groups like this. Remember that first digit needs to go from the x to the x to the times -3. And then we're going to go for inside, which is at 7 times x. And then last will be those ones. So if I do the FOIL on that, I get x squared minus 3x plus 7x minus 21. All right. I'm now going to double check, see if there are any like terms that I can combine. There are in this -3x and the 7x. So again, the stuff I don't change, I will not rewrite it. Or I won't change it. I'll just rewrite it. Now I get -3x plus 7. That gives me a positive 4x minus 21. And if I were going to use this one as that setting it up in the correct order, I've got the x squared on the left, I've got 4x in the middle, and then I've got that negative 21. So again, if I wanted to set it up to make them equal to, or give them those letter values, my a in this one, even though there's nothing in front of that x squared, there's an imaginary 1. B is going to be a positive 4, and then C would be a negative 21. All right, I'll do one more FOIL with you. Again, first, the outsides, inside, and last. So I've got 5x times 3x. That gives me 15x squared minus 5 times 8 is 40x. Now I've got 7 times positive 3, so plus 21x. And then 7 times 8, negative 56. I'm going to combine like terms. So again, 15x squared does not change at all. So I will rewrite 15x squared. Negative 40x plus 21, that gives me minus 19x, and then minus 56. And that's it. If I wanted to figure out those values on this one, I've got A would be equal to 15, B would be equal to negative 19, and then C would be equal to negative 56. FOIL shouldn't be a problem. All right, we're going to get down to factoring. We're actually going to factor these ones. The way this first one is set up is that it says it's factoring when A equals 1, meaning there's not going to be a number that is in front of the X value over here. We can do it when there's something in front of there, which we will get to later on in this lesson. But yeah, we're just going to set these first ones up where we're going to factor them as if it's with nothing in front of that X value. All right, so the two things that we need to figure out. We need to figure out which term is in the B value. Okay, the term that is in the B value, I'm going to write these ones down. I've got A, B, C, just so that way I can kind of show you what's going on. My A value, again, was 1. My B value for this one is 1. And my C value is going to be negative 12. Negative 12. All right, so for when I make this little chart, the way I put it is I put a little multiplication sign on top over here, and then I put an addition sign over here. Okay, on this side, the one on the left, we need to find the value of A times C. I'm going to write it up here. A times C. So for this one, we've got negative 12. I need to find two numbers that are going to multiply together to get negative 12. All right, and then on the other side where I have this plus sign, I need to have some numbers that will add together after they multiply that will add up to a positive 1. So this one turns a little bit more into, I'm not going to say guess and check, but you get the idea. All right, I'm going to choose two numbers that I can multiply together to get negative 12. All right, I could start off with 1 times negative 12. Okay, 1 times negative 12, if I add those together, so these ones multiplied to equal negative 12, but if I add them together, they equal negative 11. Because that does not equal that 1 on the top, it's not that one. Next one I can do is going to be 2 times negative 6. Okay, 2 plus negative 6, that gives me a negative 4. That does not equal a positive 1, so I know it's not that one. Next one, I've got 3 times negative 4. 3 times negative 4 gets me negative 1. It doesn't equal the top, but it's close. If I see that one of them is negative and the other one I'm trying to get to is positive, I can change the signs. So I will try to do this one as taking negative 3 times a positive 4. Negative 3 times a positive 4 does equal negative 12. And then negative 3 plus 4 does equal a positive 1. This is what I'm looking at. And these are the numbers I'm going to work with. All right, let me add an extra line so we got some room to work with here. All right, so I've got this negative 3 and then a positive 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write out into 2 ordered pairs here. With my A value is 1, I'm going to put a positive X in the front of both of them. Okay, so I've got X in one of them and then X in the other one. Now that we have this -3 and this -4, I'm going to put in the -3 on this side and then the positive 4 on this side. Because it's a positive, I'm going to put the plus sign. When we factored it out, this is going to be the factored answer that we need. Okay, you don't need to do this next step, but I'm going to show you. We had X minus 3. I'm just going to rewrite it. I'm actually going to do the FOIL on it to show you that it is the correct answer. Okay, so I'm going to do the FOIL stuff first, outside, inside, and last. That gives me X squared plus 4X minus 3X minus 12. Combine like terms, I get X squared plus X, or I could say 1X, minus 12. Okay, if I want to double check it, I'm going to jump up here and get the highlighter to show you. This formula right here is the exact same as this one down here. We did it correctly. All right. So we'll do another one. Number 2. With number 2, we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to make that little chart. Or again, I've got multiplication over here. This one's going to be addition. My multiplication, I need to have my A value times my C value. So again, my A is a 1, so it's pretty easy. So I get 15, a positive 15 of what I want them to multiply to. And then I want them to add to a negative 8. All right, so if I need to add them to a negative 8 and my multiplication one is a positive number, that lets me know that both my numbers, when I'm multiplying to 15, need to be negative. All right, instead of going one by one, I'm going to start jumping a little bit quicker. So instead of 1 times 15, I will do -3 times -8. Or sorry, -5. -3 times -5. Okay, 3 times 5 equals 15, so I know that one's good. -3 plus -5, that equals -8. Perfect. I did it perfectly right off the bat. These will be the numbers I work with. Okay, so I'm going to put together my ordered pairs, or my 2 sections, 2 things in parentheses. I've got X on both sides. So X minus 3. And this one will be X minus 5. This is my answer for number 2. All right, number 3. Kind of have a chance to think about it. If I'm putting my chart together, I've got multiplication, I've got addition. My A times C is going to be 12. I need them multiply together to equal 12. And I need them to add up to equal -7. Okay, my multiplication stuff is positive, so that tells me I need to have 2 negative numbers multiplied together to have them add up to -7. All right, I'll start off with, let's say, -2 and -6. Those multiply to make 12. Added together, they make -8. So it's not that one. I can try -3 times -4. -3 times -4 added together. Those equal -7. Fantastic. We found it. We're crushing it. So same thing. I get an X here. Put some parentheses down. I got 2 X's. And then I've got -3 and -4. Okay, I'll do sample number 4 just for the heck of it. Kind of flying through them now. Again, I have my chart, multiplication, addition. Multiplication is A times C. This one is just going to be the letter B. A times C equals -40. My addition stuff should be a -3. Okay, my multiplication is -40. That tells me that one needs to be a positive number, one needs to be a negative number. Okay, and my final answer when they add together is going to be -3. It's a negative number, so that means my bigger number needs to be the negative 1. All right, so I'm going to skip off. I'm not going to do 1 times 40 because it's not even going to be close. But I can do negative 20 times 2. All right, that gives me negative 18. That's not it. I can do negative 10 times 4. So that equals negative 40. Or, sorry. That equals negative 40. But added together, they equal negative 6. That's not the one. I can do negative 8 times 5. Negative 8 times 5, that equals negative 3. That's the one we want to work with. I'm going to put a box around it. Put together your parentheses. X goes in front. X goes in front. Minus 8. And then plus 5. That is your final answer for number 4. All right, so we're going to get going on factoring, and this one's going to be when the value for A is not 1, it's bigger than 1. So this first one, I'm just going to go through and I'm going to write down what all my values equal. So my A is a positive 6, my B is a negative 1, my C is going to be a negative 12. All right. Just like before, we do that kind of that factor tree. We're at the multiply, and then I have the addition. Okay, remember this is A times C. This one is just going to be the value of my B. So A times C is going to be 6 times negative 12. That gives me negative 72. My B value is going to be negative 1. Because they are both negative, that means for the multiplication, one will be a positive number, one will be a negative number. And then for the addition part, I just need to make sure that my negative number is bigger than my positive one. All right, so I can look through my different numbers. It'll go through it. I'm just going to start off. I've got negative 9 times 8. Okay, multiplied together, those do equal 72. Added together, they equal negative 1. Perfect. These are the numbers I'm going to work with, that negative 9 and negative 8. Now, here's where we deviate. Here's where we do something a little bit different than we did before. For this one, we're still going to write this 6x squared. We're still going to write that first term. But instead of putting it directly into parentheses, we're going to write these extra 2 terms that we just solved into this equation. So I've got 6x squared minus 9x plus 8x minus 12. I took these terms right down here, and then I plugged them in to this spot and this spot. Okay, now I'm going to combine those, or no, not before I combine them, I'm going to put some parentheses around them. The trick on this is make sure that you include the addition or subtraction sign in front of that third term. All right, now I'm going to look for the things that they have in common. So 6x squared minus 9x, they both have a 3x in common. So I simplify that one down. I get 2x minus 3. This one over here, I've got 8x minus 12. I see they both have a positive 4 in common. So I'm going to take out a positive 4, and I'm left over with 2x minus 3. All right, the part that I want you to notice, when we just got done doing that, once we pulled it out, we're going to look and see what stuff inside these parentheses. This one and this one should be identical. If they are identical, we did it right. Okay, in this case, they are identical. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the term that was in front of it and the other term that's in front. So that 3x plus 4, those are going to go into a set of parentheses by themselves. And that 2x minus 3 that we just solved for, those will go into a set of parentheses by themselves. And that is going to be your solution for the factoring when you have something that's greater than 1 in the value of A. Okay, we're going to do another one. 2x squared minus x minus 21. I'm still going to go through. I'm going to get my A, B, and C value. My A value is a 2. B value is negative 1. My C value is negative 21. I'm going to factor them again. Multiplication, addition. A times C, so it's 2 times negative 21. I need to multiply to equal negative 42. And I need them to add to equal negative 1. Okay, so on this one, I can do 6 times, let's say a negative 7. One has to be positive, one has to be negative. So 6 times negative 7. If I add those together, they do get to be negative 1. I did it correctly the first time. These are the numbers I'm going to work with, a 6 and a negative 7. So again, I'll rewrite this stuff from before. So 2x squared, that's not going to change. Now I'm going to include that plus 6x, the numbers we just solved for, minus 7x minus 21. So all I'm doing, instead of putting in this term, I'm taking the terms from down here that we just solved, and I'm substituting those into that same place. Because again, if I took 6x minus 7, it's still going to give me negative 1x. All right. So now I'm going to go through. I'm going to use a different color just so you can see what I'm doing here. I'm going to group these parentheses together. This one, don't forget about the negative sign. All right, so I've got 2x squared plus 6x. I see they both have a 2 and an x in common. I'm left over with x plus 3. This one, I've got negative 7x minus 21. They both have a negative 7 in common. And I'm left with x plus 3. This and this match up perfectly. That means I did it right. So I get 2x minus 7 and then x plus 3. That's my solution. All right, I'm going to skip down towards question number 5. I do want to show you this one before going on to the solving the quadratic equations. I've got 1/2 x squared plus 1/2 x minus 3. I do not want to do the work when they are in fractions. I'm letting you know right now, putting them in fractions is a terrible idea. It doesn't work out. What we need to do is get them all with the exact same denominator, and then we can get rid of those fractions. So I can look at this entire thing and see that if I multiply them all by 2, that will get rid of that denominator. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take 1/2 times 2. That just gives me a 1x squared. Next one, I've got 1/2 times 2. That's going to be a 1x. And then negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. Now that I have 1/2 x squared plus 1x minus 6, now it's a problem that I can solve doing that same factoring method. We cannot do it when we have the fractions. So my a value, my b value, my c value, I get a positive 1, I get a positive 1, I get a negative 6. Same thing, multiplication, addition. A times c is going to be negative 6. They need to add up to equal a positive 1. Okay, I'm going to use a positive 3 times a negative 2. Those ones will add to a positive 1. These are what I'm going to use. Also, if you noticed, because my a value was a 1, I can put it directly into parentheses to start with. And I get x plus 3, x minus 2, and that's it for my answer. All right. Again, if you have fractions, get rid of the fraction, find something that they can all multiply by together to get rid of those fractions to allow it to happen. All right. All right, next part. We're getting to solving the quadratic equations. For this one, we're going to set all the terms. They're going to be equal to 0. I'm going to show you what this looks like. We're going to factor it. We'll set them all equal to 0, and then it'll solve both the equations. It will make sense by the time I'm done, hopefully. All right, we need to do just like we did in the very, very first part of this assignment. Get everything onto one side of the equation and set it equal to 0. So again, plus 36 to both sides. I get x squared minus 13x plus 36 equals 0. Okay, now I'm going to go through my a value, my b value, my c value. A is 1, b is negative 13, c is 36. I'm going to go through and factor. Multiplication, here's my addition. 1 times 36 is 36. And then my addition value is going to be negative 13. All right, for this one, I'm going to do, let's say, 12 times 3 times 3. They're both negative, equals 36, but they add up to be negative 15. That's not quite right. All right, next one I'm going to do is going to be a negative 9 times a negative 4. Negative 9 plus negative 4, that equals negative 13. These are the numbers I'm working with. Okay, because my A value is a 1, I can just plug them in right away without having to do the extra steps. If you do the extra steps, it will still work out. But I've got x minus 9 and then x minus 4 equals 0. And now here's where I'm going to set both of them equal to 0 and then solve it. I get x minus 9 equals 0. And then I have x minus 4 equals 0. Okay, plus 9 to both sides, plus 9 to both sides. X equals 9 and plus 4 to both sides, plus 4 to both sides. X equals 4. My answer for this one is x equals 9 and x equals 4. I'll scroll down to number 2 just to show it again. I need them all on the exact same side of the equal sign. And them all equal 0. So I'm plus 7x plus 7x. I get x squared plus 7x plus 6 equals 0. A value, B value, C value. A equals 1, B equals 7, C value equals a positive 6. I'm going to factor this thing out. A times C is going to be multiplied together to equal positive 6. My addition stuff is that they are going to add together to equal 7. I'm going to do 1 times 6. They add together to equal 7. These are the numbers I'm going to work with. So I get x plus 1, x plus 6, all of that equals 0. Then I get x plus 1 equals 0. X plus 6 equals 0. I'm going to solve through minus 1, minus 1. X equals negative 1. And minus 6, minus 6. X equals negative 6. These are my answers for that one. Okay. I'm going to show you one more on that one. This one is going to show the extra steps, kind of the more complicated of the two, but it will still work out the exact same way. So I'm going to jump ahead and not show every single step, but I'm moving this 5 over. So 6x squared plus 5x minus 6 equals 0. Okay, my A, B, and C. A equals 6. My B equals 5. My C equals negative 6. A times C is going to be negative 36. This is my multiplication. Here's my addition stuff. They're going to add up to equal a positive 5. Because it's a negative 36, one will be positive, one will be negative. I will do 12 times negative 3. That doesn't work out. It gives me 9 for my difference. Okay, I will do 8 times, just kidding, not 8. 9 times a negative 4. That gives me a positive 5. Here are the numbers I'm going to work with. So this is the part where I get to work this one out again. I get 6x squared plus 9x, because I'm bringing these ones up, minus 4x minus 6 equals 0. I'm going to put parentheses around those like terms, or those groups, to try to find like terms. This one, I can take out a 3x from both of them. So then I get 2x plus 3. This one I can take out a negative 2 from both of them, and I get 2x plus 3 equals 0. These are the same, so I did it right. I get 3x minus 2, 2x plus 3 equals 0. Now, just like the step above it, I'm going to set both of those equal to 0. I get 3x minus 2 equals 0. 2x plus 3 equals 0. Plus 2. I get 3x equals 2 divided by 3. X equals 2/3. This one, minus 3, 2x equals negative 3 divided by 2 on both sides, 2 on both sides, x equals negative 3 over 2. This is one of my answers, and this is the other answer. You will have two answers on these ones. Okay? I'm not going to do number 4. It is the same as those ones before. All right, on to the very last part of the assignment is going to be quadratic formulas. Okay? Again, it says make sure the equation's in the standard form. Write down that formula. It will be used. These are ones, if you cannot factor it right away, you can use the quadratic formula and it will give you the answer. It just takes a lot more time. So I'm going to go through. I'm going to make sure this one's in standard form. Okay, so I've got 21x squared. I'm moving this 79x over, plus 79x. So I got 21x squared plus 79x minus 50 equals 2. I need to get this 2 over here, minus 2. I get 21x squared plus 79x minus 52 equals 0. It's in standard form. I'm doing great. I got my A value, my B value, my C value. A value is 21. B value, 79. C value is negative 52. Now that I have all three of these, I can plug this stuff into the quadratic equation and I will solve it. But again, just know it is a lot of work that goes into it. So negative B, I'm going to rewrite it as negative 79 plus or minus the square root of, slide over a little bit, B squared, so 79 squared minus 4AC, 4 times 21, and then C is a negative 52. All of that 52 looks terrible. All of that over 2A, so 2 times 21. Okay, I'm going to try to make this 52 a little bit better. All right, over 21, and now we're going to start working our way down. Bear with me while I'm pulling out my calculator to get these ones done. So I've got negative 79 plus or minus the square root of 79 squared is 6,241 minus 4 times 21 times 52. Because I got two negatives times each other, it will end up as positive. So 4 times 21 times 52. I get plus 4,368. All of that is going to be over 42. Okay, I'm going to continue with the things inside the radical sign. I've got negative 79 plus or minus the square root of 10609 over 42. Okay, I'm going to continue to work this one down. Negative 79 plus or minus the square root of that is 103 over 42. Okay, now I get to branch off and do two separate ways. I'm going to do negative 79 plus 103 over 42. And then I've got negative 79 minus 103 over 42. Okay, that's where that plus and minus comes in. It's going to be two separate answers, just like the ones before. So I've got negative 79 over 103. That simplifies down to 24 over 42. This one, negative 79 minus 103. That one simplifies down to negative 182 over 42. Okay. You can leave them as fractions if they're simplified. So this one would be 12 over 21. 182 divided by 42. That one simplified is going to be 4 or negative 4 1/3. So we got 4 1/3. If you want to put them in decimals, you most certainly can. Okay, so 12 divided by 21 on this first one. So it could be either this thing or you could put 0.57. This one would be negative 4.33. Okay, either one of these is what I'm looking for, but it's going to be this this one over here, and this is your answer. You will have two answers on this one. Okay? The next one works the exact same way. All right. We've got to put it in the correct form. So you got 3x squared minus 3x minus 1 equals 0. My A, my B, my C. All right, A value is 3. B value is -3. C value is -1. You're still going to set it up the same way. So negative B, so negative times -3 plus or minus the square root of -3 squared minus 4 times A, which is 3, times C, which is -1. All that over 2 times A, so 2 times 3. You kind of make a little line here to show this is where that one ended. All right, so negative times a negative, that turns into a +3 plus or minus the square root of 9 plus 12 over 6. All right, I'm going to simplify this one down a little bit more to 3 plus or minus radical 21 over 6. If you want to solve it down into a decimal, you most certainly can. Otherwise, your two answers are going to be 3 plus radical 21 over 6 and 3 minus radical 21 over 6. That can be your answer. All right, that's all I got for you.